Open up a tab, grab a seat, and pour a pint. It's time for the Beer Guys Radio Show.
You want free beer? Go to the brewery.
Dedicated to the art, science, and enjoyment of craft beer.
Yeah, what's wrong with the beer we got?
Now, here are your hosts, Tim Dennis and Aaron Williams.
And welcome to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We are radio for the local craft beer movement, broadcasting from our lovely Atlanta studios at AM 920 The Answer. I'm Aaron Williams.
And I'm Tim Dennis. And this week, in accordance with the season, Aaron,
yes,
we're talking all things Oktoberfest. We have Atlanta's own Der Biergarten joining us in the studio. And for those that don't know, Der Biergarten is German for the beer garden.
You're a genius, Tim.
Yeah, I just thought I'd break that down for folks there.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Guys, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, sir.
Definitely, yeah. It's going to be a good time. We're going to talk all things Oktoberfest and drink some German beers and German-inspired beers and talk about some of the news and all that kind of stuff. But in the meantime, we've been busy today. We usually tape on a Thursday.
Right.
And somebody else tapes on a Thursday, too, as we found out.
They did today, at least,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
Yes.
So we hung out with Rap Stars, because that's how we roll.
It is all the time.
Absolutely,
all the
yes.
time.
Because you can see from our pictures, we would definitely be the type that would hang out with Rockstar or that Rap Stars. Nappy Roots does their podcast, Nappy Hour, and we were fortunate enough to be invited on the show and talking craft beer with those guys. That was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. Yeah, we appreciate those guys having us. That was a good time.
Definitely, and that's the Nappy Hour. If you want to, after you listen to this show, check out Nappy Hour on a podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, all that kind of stuff too. So it's very good. So speaking of Nappy Roots, last weekend was your birthday. Happy birthday.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
And we celebrated at the garage at Monday night for a little bit.
We did.
And
they
were there.
The grand opening of Monday night's garage. So started off the weekend with that. Went to the garage grand opening, drank all of those beers. They had some great stuff on tap.
Yes.
Hung around all day to catch the Nappy Roots concert. We went over to Hampton and Hudson.
Okay.
Finally got to check them out. We've had them on before and got to go over there. It was game day at Hampton and Hudson. Boy, that place is hustling and bustling on game day. So got to do that. Also went to Red Brick a little earlier this week. We got a little sneak peek at their anniversary beers that are releasing today, the Vanilla Gorilla and variants. And that was pretty much my weekend beer there.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We got to do that on Facebook Live, and if you missed it, you can go ahead and check back our Facebook page at Beer Guys Radio. We have that, of course, stored. And also with the Vanilla Gorilla variants, say that 3 times fast. Talked to the new brewer there, and he's got a brand new Hoplanta IPA recipe
Gavin
as well.
McKenna.
So Gavin
reformulated Hoplanta.
Did a really nice job with that.
Thumbs up there.
I do too. So So if you haven't had Hoplanta in a while, check it out. The past couple of weeks are brand new, so give that a try as well. So again,
and
thanks
shout out
to
Brian Hewitt. He's over there. We got a full studio, so we took his mic away from him.
We did,
today,
which is
but
probably
he's
a
still
good
there.
thing.
And shout out to Becky Smalls, who's a little under the weather this week. So
Aww.
She's not in the studio, but she's joined us here on Facebook Live. So
and she's here in spirit, too.
She's keeping an eye on us.
That's good, because we need people to keep an eye on
Absolutely.
us when we do that. So, hey, let's go ahead and check out this week's Truck and Tap's Beers of the Week.
Crack open a cold one. It's the Truck and Tap Beer of the Week. Craft beer and food trucks in downtown Woodstock. Truckandtap.com.
So, Tim, I know it's always a good day when I see these huge steins in front of us.
It is. We have some. What are these? 64 ounce?
Just a little pre-gaming.
More than 32, that's for sure.
Yes,
it's a liter.
It's a real liter.
It's a true liter. Taster. These are German taster glasses, is what they call these.
Yes,
so we've
that's
got
good.
this, and we have plenty of beer to put in these, Aaron. So
yes,
we want to say thanks to Nick Purdy with Wild Heaven. He dropped by with some of their new stuff this week, and we have their Callisto IPA. We have some Mavis from them. We also have, I think we have one other, Aaron, is that right?
Yeah, the Callisto as well. And we also have the Fortress of Sourtude that we have, too. Their Peach Wild Ale.
Yep. So we've got those. We have some cans from Oconee Brewing Company. And we have a Duende.
There's a Duende in there.
There's a Duende in there. And the guys from Der Biergarten was nice enough to bring some Spot and Oktoberfest. And you mentioned a trial batch, sample batch coming. So for those that don't know, Der Biergarten is part of Legacy Ventures. And one of their other operations is STATS, which is becoming a brew pub. It's been a sports bar, becoming a brew pub, and not serving just yet, soon, right?
Right.
But we've got a little sample batch here,
Got a little sample batch that we put together that we figured we'd get you guys to try and let us know what you think.
Cool.
I appreciate that.
So
that's
that's
good.
on the agenda for tonight.
I like it. So let's go ahead, without any further ado, check out this week's headlines.
What's in the news? The beer guys have the scoop.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Time for headlines. Sponsored by Your Pie Perimeter in the Perimeter Place Shopping Center across from Perimeter Mall.
So we have semi-breaking news here in the news segment. City of Marietta, they have shut down their open container policy in committee. So they had the possibility of to allow restaurant and bar patrons to roam the Marietta Square with alcoholic beverages in tow. So open container, have a couple of beers.
That's too bad.
Bring it out. It is too bad. However, I did hear that that may not be dead completely. If that's correct. So I know Brian has been at the Marietta desk. If you want to borrow the microphone and let us know.
The news desk.
The news desk, exactly.
So yeah, I think it died a political death, perhaps. It's not dead. They were talking to business owners first to see if it should proceed, but it is officially not on any further agendas for consideration.
Gotcha. So officially, politically, it's dead. However, it could be revived, and we would highly recommend for the city of Marietta to revive
Sure,
that.
if you look at the places that have a so-called entertainment district, we've got it in Woodstock, and of course, Old Town Roswell is kind of a famous one in the area, and it just makes for an excellent environment. Lots of people hanging out and spending money, Marietta.
Yeah, spending money. That's a good thing. That's definitely a good thing.
Absolutely.
So speaking of spending money and good things, we're going to quick update down in Mobile, Alabama. They've got 3 breweries that are still on the loose and trying to get their feet on the ground. Serta Brewing this weekend actually is having their grand opening, or just kind of a sneak peek. They're not brewing any beers just yet, but wanted to give the public a sneak peek of what's going on. So that's almost in progress. Haint Blue, which is another one we've talked about before, they're kind of still in the red tape morass of trying to deal with their zoning regulations and all that kind of stuff. And so they're still working on that. And then another brand new brew pub or a brewery called Iron Hand Brewing, not to be confused with Ironmonger, Iron Hand in Mobile, Alabama. They're going to start moving ahead forward. So their initial permissions and grants have been permitted by the city. So Mobile, it looks like it's going to come from 0 breweries to 3, hopefully fairly soon.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of a good deal for them. So the next big thing in craft beer. Okay, we've had all these. We had sessions, we've had sours, we've had all sorts of crazy things. But according to NPR, the next big thing in craft beer is having a really small tap room.
We said that before. We called that one.
I know, we're way ahead of the curve.
With those hyper locals, man, we knew that was coming.
Exactly. A couple weeks ago, we talked to Green Bus Brewing out of Huntsville.
Yeah, sure.
It's basically having a hyper local, just a neighborhood brewery where they brew their own beer. They don't distro, or very small distribution around the area, but you can only get your beer at that brewery right there, and it becomes kind of a neighborhood hotspot.
People love local craft beer. We've talked about it a lot. They want stuff local. They want it. It used to be their state, their region, whatever. It just the more beer gets out there, the more people want it closer to them. And these small neighborhood tap rooms and stuff are going to be the way of the future.
The way it's in the year 2000. It's been a little. Well, no. Anyway, yeah, but it'll be fun. And again, hopefully with the relaxed rules here in Georgia, we'll start to see more and more of that popping up in different neighborhoods and different smaller towns across the state. So finally, I have another story for you. If you are a traveler, the best airports for craft beer. And amazingly enough, there is a Georgia airport that's on this list. It's Savannah. So Savannah Hilton Head has actually been listed as one of the best airports for craft beer.
Really? Very okay. Congrats to them. Cool.
One of the main reasons is that Southbound is opening up a brewery or a brew pub in the non-security part of the area. So you can kind of go into the Savannah Airport, have a couple of beers, and then go for that as well. So
not just a tap room, a brew pub?
That is, a tap room is that. Okay. So that's the case. And then a couple other ones here in the region, Tampa and Orlando have got some high marks for that as well. I know Tampa, their Cigar City is bringing their
Tampa's
own
a good one.
brewery, and that's going to be the first brewery in an airport.
It's already there.
Yeah.
It's been there a while.
So
the Tampa Cigar City one.
Yeah, and so you can only get beers there that's brewed just at the airport. So that's a pretty cool deal.
It is, indeed.
That'll wrap it up for the headlines.
Awesome. Well, we need to take a quick break. We'll be back just a moment talking Oktoberfest with Der Biergarten.
Hey, this is Taylor Lamb with Oconee Brewing Company, and you're listening to Beer Guys Radio.
The Beer Guys are back right after this.
Have you ever thought about owning your own brewery? but don't know what it takes to get one built? We're CRL Contracting, and we build breweries. We are the most experienced contractors in the state of Georgia when it comes to building new breweries and tap rooms, or expanding current breweries. If you've been to Orpheus, Second Self, or Scofflaw, then you know what kind of work we can do. Just give us a call at 678-546-3382 or visit crlcontracting.com for more information. CRL Contracting. We build breweries. crlcontracting.com.
It's Aaron and Tim, the beer guys. If you're like us, no lunch or dinner is complete without a pint or two of craft beer.
Which is why Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock is always on our list. Tim, why do they call it Truck and Tap?
Well, the tap part is easy. They have 12 of them. Bottles, too. Not sure what to drink? All of their beer servers are Cicerone certified. And if you got someone who isn't a beer fan, not to worry. Truck and Tap carries wine, mixed drinks, and even handcrafted sodas.
As for the truck part, well, that's when it gets interesting. Truck and Tap features your favorite Atlanta area food trucks daily. That way, you're getting a different menu every day.
Check it out. Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock. Truckandtap.com. Let them know that the beer guys sent you.
If you're into craft beer, you need to check out Drink This Beer. It's a podcast from the creators of Beer Guys Radio. Tim Dennis and Aaron Williams talk to some of the best and most important brewers across the country and the world. So if you like to drink beer, pull up a chair and crack open the Drink This Beer podcast. Available on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Andrew and Lisa with Your Pie Perimeter here. We'd like to invite you to our store for a beer.
Is there anything better than pizza?
Yep, brick oven pizza that's made fresh and paired with a cold craft beer.
That's what you get at Your Pie Perimeter, located in the Perimeter Place Shopping Center by Perimeter Mall.
It's the perfect place to relax on the patio with a pint, after work, or bring the family in.
Andrew and Lisa, I'm going to let you finish, but first, you forgot to mention the $3 craft beer specials you have every Thursday. I mean, come on, the pizza's great, but that's an amazing deal. $3 craft beer specials every Thursday. Now, go ahead and finish your commercial.
Follow Your Pie Perimeter on Facebook for all of our beer events and specials.
That's Your Pie Perimeter, located in Perimeter Place Shopping Center next to Chipotle.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
What is tarnation?
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
And welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. BeerGuysRadio.com is our website, and we are live at our studios at AM 920 The Answer in Atlanta, and we are talking all things Oktoberfest, seeing as it is the last weekend of September.
Heck
October is here, and you know what? That's just in time for beer drinking season.
It is just in time for beer drinking season, which I think works out perfectly.
Yes,
for everyone involved. So yeah, like we mentioned, Oktoberfest. This is our second annual Oktoberfest show.
It is. I love
Oktoberfest. We're old enough
Oktoberfest
to have a second annual show now.
That's awesome.
So yeah, talking Oktoberfest, we've got the guys from Der Biergarten in here to chat with us. We have Jeff Sime, and he is the director of operations for Legacy Ventures. Correct, Jeff? Yep. And we have Matt Yuhasz. Did I get it, man?
Close, yep.
Close enough.
Yep.
And he's the executive general manager with Legacy Ventures. And they're here with us. You've got Der Biergarten, STATS, as we mentioned. And how many's in your group total? You just took over the block there, right?
We decided to just take over the block.
Just do it, man.
We did.
It's the Sweetwater business plan.
That's
just
right.
take over the block.
Yeah. So you've also got Max's Cold Oven Pizza and a barbecue, Twin Smokers, right?
Twin Smokers barbecue, that's right.
Very cool. Awesome. Well, we're going to focus on Oktoberfest.
Yes.
And
as much as I love barbecue
drinking,
and pizza, I will focus on
We popped a growler of the Spot in Oktoberfest, which we're drinking right now, Martzen, and
so good.
Enjoying that. So, Jeff, or either one of you really, what's Oktoberfest all about? What exactly are we celebrating here?
Oktoberfest is about, in Germany originally, when King Ludwig was marrying a princess in Munich, they went to the festival, and they invited all the citizens from Munich to attend the festival. So, and it was a 3-week festival.
So this is a wedding party.
The wedding party, yeah.
All right,
really long.
Whatever.
Congrats
to them. That's a good way to do it.
a 3-week wedding party full of beer. I'm down.
Absolutely. Food and beer for
Absolutely.
3 weeks, right?
I like that.
Good
definitely.
Time. So we know that, of course, the Martzen Oktoberfest style is traditional, that you drink that at Oktoberfest. But what are some others that are traditionally served? And I know you guys said you've been to the big Oktoberfest in Germany and that. So what are some other traditional beers if someone's looking to enjoy Oktoberfest?
Wiesen is a big one. Like Paulaner has a Wiesen that's in Atlanta now that we'll be serving this weekend. But they also have an Oktoberfest or a Martzen, and then there's kind of Hothbar House has an Oktoberfest as well. And then there's, Warsteiner will have an Oktoberfest, but it's not considered an Oktoberfest beer since it's not in Munich. So you have to be brewed in Munich.
I gotcha. Okay.
It's the official
sort of like the champagne in France. You've got to have the right region. Okay, interesting. I didn't know that.
I've seen the homebrew definition of like fest beer versus Marts, and they're fairly minute, and really if you're drinking them side by side, I think you get a little sweeter out of the fest beer style. But is that kind of where that came from? It couldn't be a Martin since it wasn't brewed in Munich?
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, so Weinsteffen has a fest beer, but they're not within city limits of Munich. Even though they're the oldest brewery in the world and they're very close to Munich, they're not within city limits.
We just talked
they have
about
a fest beer.
Germany's laws with beer, and they're traditional and really strict on some of the ones they have there, and not really open to change. I've heard it's changing a little bit, but for the most part, if it ain't broke, is kind of their attitude there, right?
That is right. There's 4 ingredients only.
Yeah.
They're sticking to it.
And the magic stick, which I always love, which is my favorite thing.
Stick.
Yes, exactly.
It always creeps me out when you say that, Aaron. So, yeah.
That's a personal problem, Tim. I don't know about that. I think I can help you.
Well, guys, I tell you, German Biergarten here in Atlanta. So, it's definitely a mix of cultures there. So, what was the inspiration for opening the Biergarten?
So, the short story is, we only have an hour show here. So, the short story is, we had we have a German partner who is from Alpharetta. From Germany, lives in Alpharetta. He was actually overseas. He actually bumped into one of our partners just haphazardly, and they spent a boat ride together and started talking about Alpharetta and started talking about being in Atlanta. And then next thing you know, they said, you guys really should put a beer garden in Atlanta. So next thing you know, a group of investors and our chief operating officer and our CEO said, we're going to Germany to investigate. Went to Germany for a week, came back, opened up a beer garden. 3 months later, we had a beer garden in downtown Atlanta.
Very cool. Now, when did the beer garden open?
2010, September 2010.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been around a little bit. But, here's the interesting thing, too, and I always wondered about this when you're talking about, say, Fado for an Irish pub. How do you create that authenticity without making it seem like you're in German beer Disney World?
It's a fine line.
Yeah.
It's a fine line for sure. We do go to the festive side of a beer garden. We've got three different areas in our restaurants. We have our patio. We have a mural room, which is kind of a covered patio, and then we have a restaurant inside. The restaurant inside has a lot of lighting. It looks very European Christmas style. A lot of some things on the walls that make it seem like you're in Germany. But when we were in Germany 2 years ago, when we went to a lot of other beer gardens, that was a lot of what you saw. Mm-hmm. And I think it enhances the experience. You go there and you realize we want people to think that they're in a different place, that they're not in a place that serves German beer and has German food, but they really have more of an experience without being too sticky. It is a fine line.
Yeah.
And I guess one thing that kind of lets you know if you've hit it pretty much, you mentioned that the Munich, the soccer, what's their team?
Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich. They meet at Der Biergarten, right? They have a group that meets there.
Right.
So if you've got the fan base and the core from the country, then you're doing okay, right?
You're pretty legit.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. Cool. Well, we're talking to the folks behind Biergarten, Der Biergarten here in downtown Atlanta. Tell us a little bit about your tap list. We're here for the beer. We're talking about the beer. Took a look at your tap and bottle list, and it's about as authentic as you're going to get.
Yeah, we try to get as many German beers as we can that they come into the States. It is tough with some of the smaller breweries that are in Germany, but, we have the main ones, the Warsteiners, the Weinsteffens, the Spaetzles. We have 18 drafts, 18 German beers on draft, and we do have one Czech beer. But it's
the Pilsner Urquell is that's old school too.
It's old school.
Yeah.
It was close enough demographically.
Yeah.
So our most popular beers right now are obviously going to be our Oktoberfest beers, but and any Hefeweizen beers. Because this is the fall and this is the time to have it.
Yeah, and it's Oktoberfest again. This is when you get this time of the year. Of course, it's like 90 degrees in Atlanta now, but hopefully next week it'll start dropping down in the 70s, and that's the time when it's like you get a little bit of breeze, you get a little bit of a coolness in the evening. This is perfect for this kind of beer.
The cooler weather, and you know my stance. I refuse to touch any Oktoberfest beer or pumpkin beers before September 1st, and I think I'm just going to keep my aversion to pumpkin beers year round.
I might be with you on that one. Yes, that's it.
But you got to have. We're seeing these things in July. You know, especially from American brewers. They want to be the first ones to get them out there in that. So, with that being said, do you bring in the beer? The basic question is it fresh, the beers that you're serving during Oktoberfest? Are you getting them over here fairly soon, close to the time that you're serving them out?
They're stockpiling it up at the end of August. Usually we can get them right after Labor Day. Spaten Meritzen or Spaten Oktoberfest is brewed year-round, but anything with the Paulaner family, which is also traditional, that they're going to be bringing them over right after Labor Day. And then that's as fresh as you're going to get. Through the voyage and stuff. As soon as it's here, we get it on, we get it tapped, we get them a weekend, and we try to pump up some beer. So
having gone to Germany and drinking them here, how true do you think what we get in America stands up to what they're serving in Germany?
That's a loaded question.
That's a tough one.
I mean, after a couple there,
yeah,
it was
and you have to add
going down fast.
Environment and everything to your consideration. But that being said, even if we get a great representation here in America, there's nothing like getting, and that could be said the same for American beers. We may ship a beer over to, another country, and people absolutely love it, but it's not going to be quite the same as getting it 2 blocks from where it was made. Right. So
I feel like there's less CO2 in actual Germany.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting. There's like differences between whether you get them authentically at the source or here, but. Again, it's all about creating that environment and doing the best you can with what you've got. Of course, you can't create an absolute authentic one because, you're not in Munich. But, again, by doing the research and those types of things, you can kind of create that fine line without being too shticky, but actually giving you kind of that German experience in downtown Atlanta.
Right. I think one of the things that we've done that is kind of a trend now, but it's definitely something that's been in most beer gardens is that we do communal seating.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
We need to take a quick break, but we'll be back in just a few minutes to continue talking about Oktoberfest with their beer garden.
I'm Garrett Lockhart, President and Brewmaster at Red Brick Brewing, and you're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
The Beer Guys are back right after this.
There is something in the air in Kennesaw. I'm sure you've noticed it. It is the sweet, sweet smell of barbecue permeating from The Nest, a new barbecue and beer restaurant in K-Town. The Nest is your new restaurant if you really love barbecue. Ribs, brisket, chicken, oh my. Did we mention the bar? The Nest of Kennesaw offers 49 taps of craft beer and an amazing bottle list as well. It's quite simple. If you really like barbecue and craft beer, you have to visit The Nest, barbecue and beer in Kennesaw, near historic downtown on Cherokee. Hey, it's Aaron, and you're a fan of craft beer, right? And you want to know more about what's going on in the craft beer scene in Georgia? Thanks to the hard work from my co-host Tim, we are giving you the lowdown on the craft beer scene every week, right in your inbox. Go to BeerGuysRadio.com and sign up for This Week in Georgia Beer right at the top. We won't spam you, promise, or sell your name. Just good beer info every week. Plus, you can win great prizes from us. This Week in Georgia Beer, sign up today. BeerGuysRadio.com.
We are Reformation Brewery, celebrating the reformer in you. Locally crafted within the renowned Etowah watershed of Woodstock, Georgia, Reformation creates yeast-forward brews full of aroma and flavor crafted to last. Come see us in beautiful Woodstock, Georgia, for a tour and tasting of unique brews that you can't find anywhere else. Reformation Brewery, set beer free. ReformationBrewery.com.
Ahoy there, mateys! Hunting whales? We've got you covered with Tim's Whale of the Week.
Yar, Tim, what are the whales this week?
Aaron, you know what? So I did not get, my schedule was jam-packed this week, and I didn't get a chance to
It's tough being a beer guy.
Research this quite as much as I wanted to, but even with just some surface-level research, there's a couple out there that I think folks want to get their hands on. So like we mentioned a little bit earlier today, Red Brick 24th anniversary today on the 30th. They're releasing Vanilla Gorilla.
Yes.
And they'll have variants there. So go check that out. Vanilla Gorilla is a fantastic beer. See what you got there.
That coffee variant.
It's good. Well, see, mine was the bourbon barrel fermented.
Okay,
they were all
that was
fantastic,
good too.
But that was my jam. They were very good. So, and then yesterday, Monday night, released a very limited number of Garage Club number 3. And that was their Imperial Stout with roasted hazelnuts aged in 18-year-old Scotch barrels. So it was a super limited release. If there's any more there, get get yourself by the garage. And see if you
Jonathan,
can get a
Peter,
hands
just
on
say
there,
one of those
so.
for me. That's all
That's
I'm
it,
asking.
man.
That's
It's
all.
good.
Just shout out. So anyway,
So that's it. So those are a couple you want to keep your eyes out
No,
for.
definitely some good ones out there as
Yeah.
well. So, all right, we are back talking all things Oktoberfest with Der Biergarten. We're talking to Jeff Sime. He's the director of operations for Legacy Ventures, and Matt Yuhasz. Did I get it? Yep. Oh, yes, I got it. Okay. He's the executive manager there as well. So, we've been talking about all things Der Biergarten. We're talking about your beer. Let's talk about food. How about that? Now, again, everyone talks about brats and you got the basic German food, the schnitzel and those types of things. But your menu is pretty extensive. How are you able to kind of make that authentic experience with your food as well as your beer?
Well, I think the main thing is that is authentic. You're not going to find a cheeseburger. You're not going to find anything like that on our menu, which I think adds to the authenticity of what we have. But things like getting people turned on to the schnitzels, Jaeger schnitzel. We've also got roasted lamb. We've got roasted pork shanks.
Sorry, we're looking at things.
I'm sorry.
That's right.
No, I was
That's
trying to
okay.
get his.
Oh.
So I was trying to flag Brian down there.
That's okay.
Sorry
No,
about that.
but you, like you said, I mean, you look at your menu.
Right.
You don't have the kids menu,
No.
with the chicken fingers and those types of things too. So
No, we've got knockwurst, which tastes similarly like a hot dog, and that's as close as we're going to go.
there you go. That's good. So my kids are going to have to eat good stuff, whether they like it or not. And, one of the things we talked about during the break is that you get a lot of, for where you are, you guys are located downtown, right there by CNN Center, by Phillips Arena, by the new MB Stadium. You tend to get a lot of tourists in that area, or visitors, as we like to call them, and we love our visitors here in Atlanta. Is there a lot of education that takes place when folks stop by your place?
It is. Most people, when they're visiting and they've heard about us from the hotels or read about us online, they want to come by and check it out, but they might not be from someplace where they're used to drinking any German beer, and that's all we have on draft.
Mm-hmm.
So when they come in looking for any even local beers, we don't have any. Our local beers are from Germany.
Yeah.
So. Not very local, but we can work them up and down. Our staff is pretty well trained of working them up and down depending on what kind of style our menu's created to go from lightest to most full-bodied. So they can work them up and down the list and find something that they really like.
Now, is that something that you need to train your staff on as well? Because the service element, and we've talked about this before with other breweries and brew pubs and restaurants, is that sometimes it's tough. You can take a Wines in the World, you can take a Kevin Zarelli class with that, but you can't necessarily do that without going through becoming a Cicerone.
Right.
Is that something that you really had to emphasize in training?
We've got some Cicerone trained servers that do it upon themselves after working there for a little while, but we also have very low turnover, and people just get really, really kind of geeked out about the beer and really like talking about it, and really like when we do have every now and again we'll be changing a tap, and they get even more excited that there's a new German beer that we're serving. So they take it upon themselves to really learn as much as they can about the beer so I can help sell them.
And, talking about German beer and food, German beers, very few of them are just overpowering. They're very good to pair with some food, to get something, something with a little spice, a little tartness, sauerkraut, mustards, that type of thing. So for those folks that know the basics, that know, what you get at the corner store, a brat or a pretzel or some schnitzel or something like that, what are some things to kind of branch out your Oktoberfest meal? What are some things people should look for there?
I mean, I would get the abatza to start with, which is like a Bavarian cheese spread. There's pickles, there's onions, it's cream cheese, it's paprika. That's really good just to add to the pretzel. And then for me, the Schweinhaxen, which is the big pork shank.
Oh yeah,
those are good. Absolutely,
it's the wow factor.
That's a good idea because the pretzels and mustard is a fantastic combination.
Sure.
But I'm down with that pickles, cheese, cream cheese spread. That sounds like a plan right there.
You wouldn't think anything about, like you mentioned cheese bread, you're like, it's got pickles, onions. I'm like, okay, we're getting weird here. Pickles and cheese bread and that. But, they mix some of those flavors up. Comes out pretty good together.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, absolutely.
So you guys got a big event coming up on October 14th. Let's talk about that.
Yes. So really, our big festival during the Oktoberfest is going to be our race and our Oktoberfest day. It's kind of our big day of celebration. It's going to be on the 14th.
Okay.
So you can go buy our tickets online. You can go to the Der Biergarten's website. You can go to our Facebook page and buy your tickets in advance. So we have tickets not only for the race, which is a 5K. One of downtown Atlanta is only 5K. It's a great route. Matt will be running. this year.
I'm sorry, man.
He's my proxy.
My lederhosen.
He's my proxy this year.
Right. You enjoy that.
I'm going to run it in a dirndl. That's okay there. So yeah.
So we've got a traditional German breakfast with sausages and cheese and eggs, and after that we also get you get a beverage ticket, you get a Stein. So you want to hang around. Then we've got a great band that we flew in from Ohio that plays pretty much all day. And then we have beer specials, bratwurst specials all day. We've got a big tent and a lot of music. And online you can get all the information, but it's great to buy your tickets in advance.
So you're talking about polka music and all that good stuff that's going around?
It's more than just polka.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
We do
beer drinking music.
Yeah. Will there be a chicken dance? Will there be a chicken dance?
There will be a chicken dance.
Yeah. Probably a couple.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
So with that, guys, you're also tapping unique beers over the next 2 weekends before leading up to your big party, correct?
Yes.
So if folks want to come out and get something special, what's going on the next couple weeks there?
So every Saturday we'll have a beer special, and we'll have a brat special as well. But we'll be tapping a keg every Saturday around 6 o'clock, and we'll pick someone from the tables out there, and they can kind of go up there and tap the keg, the ceremonial keg, and then we'll start pouring some beer and kind of hand out as many beers as we can until the keg's empty.
Okay.
So.
Now you mentioned having someone tap the keg. So are these cask kegs, or we're not talking just flipping the handle on a Sankey keg here?
You know what you're doing.
You got to kind of know. The first guy did it; he broke the nozzle completely off.
Yeah, that would not be good. Exactly. I would probably do that if that was the case. So that's good. Yeah. So now, speaking of beer and steins and all that, you guys brought these awesome, huge steins. By the way, these are fantastic, and this is that's a good appetizer size stein.
It's a 1 liter, big old nice 1 liter mug.
Absolutely. Now you guys have a Stein Club that goes on there too. So tell us a little bit more about that.
So the Stein Club, we have got the steins. We house them all at the restaurant. So if you come in and you're a Stein Club member, 60, we get your Stein for you, and there's discounted beers every time you walk in. So if you buy the Stein ahead of time, you pay one time, you get the Stein, you get a discounted beer, whichever beer of the month is, and they're all $9.
For what? This is a liter. Yeah, it's a true liter, so that's not a bad deal for,
that's a great
for that.
deal.
Absolutely.
It also has a couple other benefits. We have a kind of a Stein. One of the Stein Club benefits is you can get preferred seating for soccer matches and things like that. You just call ahead and you can reserve a table. So if you want a front table watching one of our big screens, you can also after you go through all of our beers on draft, you get our Ludwig platter, which serves about 6 people. That's complimentary. So you got to go through. On your card, you go through all of our drafts, and it tracks it for you. And then when you're done, you can celebrate with a bunch of your friends on us.
I saw that Ludwig platter looking online at you, and I'm like, that sounds like about me and 2 of my friends.
I was just going to say, like, the 3 of us plow through the Ludwig platter. Yes. I'm not sure, but we should be good. That's
Absolutely.
It. That's cool.
Now, guys, you mentioned soccer. We talked a little bit about the teams coming up there and meeting, but we've got Atlanta United here in Atlanta, man. And there's so much excitement and hype in that. Are you guys seeing folks showing up to watch United matches?
We get a little bit of action for away games, just to come and watch and have some beer in that kind of atmosphere. And I think also a little bit before the games, but a lot after. I mean, we're a great place to come by after the match. Everyone's kind of leaving, and it's been such a celebratory out.
Well, I mean, yeah, they've been winning, so it's been great.
Yeah, everything's great when they're winning, and I think even when they're not winning, they're still gonna have such a loyal fan base. It's been very, very impressive.
So are German soccer hooligans as rough as the English guys are? Because I went to a English pub in Fort Worth, Texas, for the World Cup a few years ago. And no one got in a fight or anything, but they were rowdy, and someone joked, that's English soccer hooligans for you. So are the German fans like that?
When Germany won the World Cup, that was one of the longest days Matt and I have had.
That was one of the longest days of our lives.
It was everything you can imagine of that many people partying and winning, and
3 benches broken.
All the tables breaking. That's good times right there. That's fantastic.
Good-natured over-celebration there, right? Yeah.
That's awesome. But yeah, I mean, that's great because, again, you're right almost there in the sports triangle for us. You've got the Hawks, you've got the United, and, of course, the Falcons. They're not doing too shabby either this year, too. So that's a really good place to be for you guys.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. So, we got to take a break right now. Actually, I'm sorry. I looked at the time, and I wasn't even paying attention to that. That's my bad. We'll be back with the Beer Guys Radio Show, beerguysradio.com, live at our studios at AM 920 The Answer in Atlanta, right after this.
Hey, it's Aaron, and you're a fan of craft beer, right? And you want to know more about what's going on in the craft beer scene in Georgia? Thanks to the hard work from my co-host Tim, we are giving you the lowdown on the craft beer scene every week right in your inbox. Go to beerguysradio.com and sign up for This Week in Georgia beer right at the top. We won't spam you, promise, or sell your name. Just good beer info every week. Plus, you can win great prizes from us. This Week in Georgia beer, sign up today. beerguysradio.com. If you really like craft beer, the Stout Brothers Smyrna Beer Market invites you to their store. Not just growlers and craft beer, but everything you need for backyard barbecues and tailgating is available at Stout Brothers. Big Green Egg, accessories, local meats, cheeses, sauces, pickles, and more. If the gang's plans involve your backyard this weekend, you gotta visit the Stout Brothers. Stock up today and get ready for life. It's quite simple. If you really like craft beer, you have to visit the Stout Brothers Smyrna Beer Market in the Smyrna Market Village.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Let's vote. Let's vote race.
We're going to keep ready. Ain't no luck in vote race.
1, 2, 3, go!
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
And welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We're talking Oktoberfest.
Yes, we are.
We're talking Der Biergarten. And you know what? I'm going to make a confession on the air. Aaron, you ready? You ready for this?
Yes.
So this will be all edited fancy when it gets on the radio.
Yes.
And when it gets to the podcast.
Yes.
But doing the Nappy Roots show before this one, we have trashed this show before post-production.
Okay. I think we did all right.
Do you think so? I don't think so.
No, but I was just trying to put a nice face on it.
Through the magic of post-production and Aaron's magic hands, this is all going to sound great when you hear it.
No, it sounds great. We're having a great conversation. Exactly.
Right?
So it's good. So,
but we've got Jeff and Matt here. We've been talking Oktoberfest, beer and food and events and all of that. So
yeah,
and we did want to cover a couple more things. You mentioned that you've got a very special Marzen that's coming to Der Biergarten, correct?
Yeah, we have a Keller Marzen, which is brewed in Spaten's brewery in Germany, but it's through Goose Island. So it's kind of interesting, they brewed it in Germany, but then they shipped it to Goose Island.
Okay.
And now we're getting it. It comes in tomorrow, actually, and we'll be the only ones in Atlanta that will have it. So it'll be interesting, actually, to taste
What does the Keller prefix indicate?
I don't know.
To ask you, because I know that Sierra Nevada makes a Keller Weiss that's really good. So I have to Google it.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Google it.
I need to learn more German to learn these things. So, but that's cool. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, well, awesome. And as we mentioned, the big party is on the 14th.
Right.
Beer, food, music, a 5K.
5K.
If you're into that thing, or just skip it and go straight to the beer and just have a good time. And where can folks go to find out more about that event?
They can go to our Facebook page for Der Biergarten, or you can go to derbiergarten.com.
And that's DERBIERGARTEN.
You win the prize, Tim.
Got it. How about it? Good stuff. And guys, I wanted to mention a little bit. We talked about STATS some, and we're sampling one of the sample batches now that we talked about earlier. And this is a Pilsner.
That's the Pilsner.
This is a Pilsner, and we've got this. This is off the tank, got some haze to it and stuff. Still needs to lager and get carbonated and all that, but this is tasty.
Yeah, I figured you guys would appreciate it. That's kind of where we're at, and when we're ready to open it up, we want to come down here and have you guys over at the brewery and check it out and see what you think.
Yeah, I'd love to. So up. Brian from the accuracy desk.
From the Google desk, Wiki Brian.
Keller means cellar in German.
So
it's
a cellar Weiss. Cellar wheat? Is that it? A cellar wheat?
White.
Cellar white?
Cellar white.
Got to brush up on my German, too. I know a little bit of Belgian that from those beers, but I still don't know a lot of foreign
I just know Octung from the U2 album.
Octung,
That's
baby.
all I know. That's
cool.
it.
Well, awesome. So when do you soon? Is that the date of brewing?
Soon is the date.
Okay.
We've done some test batches, and now we're kind of back to a starting point, knowing that we're doing. And as soon as we are ready to go, you guys will be the first ones to know.
Awesome. Well,
Very
great.
cool.
I mean,
Thank you.
and is that something that you're going to do at Stats too? Is kind of keep them for the light, what we call quote unquote drinking beers, more than anything else.
We're gonna have 6 beers. Yeah, we'll have 6 beers always on draft at Stats that are brewed at Stats. We're gonna have a Pilsner. We'll have an IPA. We'll have a Pale Ale. We're gonna have a Amber, and then currently we've tested our first Saison, which we think our brewer master Austin thinks it'll work out great.
Nice.
And then another one that we just he can play around with and kind of experiment with and kind of.
Now you guys have at Stats here have the cool like draft yourself taps, like the pull it yourself and
we do. So we're on our third upgrade for our tap tables. We're the first ones in the country for our tap tables, and we have since upgraded them and then upgraded them again. So now they're all brand new, ready to go, ready to pour our own beer. We've got we've invested in one communal table in the middle of the bar that we had 30 people at the other day watching the soccer matches.
That's awesome. I love that idea of pour your own beer.
Now, you had those operational with Stats before you became the brew pub, right?
Yes.
How's that working for you? I'm just curious. It sounds like it's just a mess waiting to happen to me.
There's some education.
Okay, yeah.
People still want to pour beer straight down.
Exactly.
Yes.
So there is some education.
Okay. But then you have a more educated consumer once they figure it out, right?
That's
right. Okay.
That's cool. Yeah, I really like that. So excellent. Well, cool. Matt, Jeff, thanks again for joining us on the Beer Guys Radio Show. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to the Oktoberfest and some spaetzle and some Schweinhaxen,
Schnitzengruben,
and just really big. I don't even know. We just lost control of this whole thing. Just whenever you have a beer mug full of like this 1 liter Stein thing, it's just all things just go out of control.
Absolutely.
But it's key. So, but again, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, definitely. Thanks. Well, go ahead and let's check out this week's hot list.
Time for the hot list. The Beer Guys have the scoop on what's going on next week. Brought to you by CRL Contracting. We build breweries. CRLcontracting.com.
That's hot.
So there's a lot of things going on. Again, this is Oktoberfest season, so a lot of cool events. I guess I'll go ahead and kick it off if that's okay.
Tell us about Alabama.
Well, let's talk about Alabama. We talked about this earlier in the show. Serta Brewing is having their sneak peek Saturday from 1 to 6 p.m., so you can still move out there if you're heading down to Mobile at Serta Brewing Company. That's going to be, again, all day today. Green Bus Brewing, we had them on the show a couple weeks ago. They're having a Connect 4-ament. So if you can play Connect 4 better than the other guy, you're good for it. So
those are the fun ones, man. Take a super simple game.
Yes.
Add some beer, turn it into a tournament. Boom.
Exactly. So there's it's an ongoing thing, so you can win some prizes if you've gone there. So of course that's at Green Bus Brewing on Wednesday, starting at 7 p.m. At the Cork and Cleaver in Montgomery, they're having a Red Hills Beer Night. That's going to start at 5 o'clock p.m. Lots of things going on Thursday, by the way. Trim Tab is having a takeover at the Auburn Draft House, and that starts at 5 o'clock as well. Rinsky's cheese sampling, because there's nothing better than sampling cheese and drinking beer. That's going to happen at Dothan's Folklore Brewing and Meadery starting at 6 o'clock p.m. And you know what? One of my favorite conversations, we'll talk about yeast.
Who doesn't?
In the wrong connotation, that could be a really bad thing.
Is it your doctor or your brewer?
Exactly. So Wish You Were Beer Homebrew in Huntsville is having a little seminar talking about yeast. So more power to them. That's going to be at 6:30 on Thursday as well. What's going on in Georgia?
Aaron, I'm not sure I can follow that.
I hope not.
Just that. So I've got boring stuff like just beer events.
Oh, okay, whatever.
So,
good luck with that.
You know what? Sunday we've got Bearings Barbecue and Brew at Monday Night's Garage. I think that's their first non-Monday night event there that they're hosting. So check that out. On Monday and Tuesday are quiet. I guess everybody's Oktoberfest and an anniversary and all that.
Chilling out,
so
exactly.
Monday and Tuesday, take it a little bit easy. Then Wednesday, put on your thinking caps and head out for some trivia, either up at Reformation for tacos and trivia in Woodstock, or catch the team trivia with our friends at Your Pie Perimeter, and of course they always have pint specials there.
There you go.
For only $3.14. On Thursday, it is the 5th of the month, which means it is Cinco de Siberius at Wrecking Bar, and there is a Dry County beer dinner at Zeal. On Friday, we've got Tap at 1180 is turning 10. An Arches can lunch at the Georgia Biergarten. Can launch, not lunch. A can launch.
Exactly. Okay.
It could be a launch. I don't
could be.
Just check it out. So at the Georgia Biergarten, and there is a Stein holding with Currahee up at Truck and Tap. And then next Saturday, we've got Second Self's 3rd anniversary. Reformation has their Cadence Fair up in Woodstock. We have October celebrations at Five Seasons Prado, Stone Mountain Brewery, and at Printers L.
Then, of course, again, in a couple weeks, just go ahead and check that out. We're having Dare Biergarten's having their big Oktoberfest festival. Oktoberfest festival.
The Oktoberfest festival?
Yes, at darebiergarten.com. So
festivities.
Festivities will ensue.
Right.
That's very key.
And, so there's stuff going on. If you time it out right, you can Oktoberfest every weekend.
I like that idea. I think I'll have to
sure
do it.
enough, man. Absolutely.
More details, check out our calendar at beerguysradio.com. But now it's time for a giveaway to give away. What do we have to
One
give
of my
away?
favorite parts of the show.
Yes.
And we are giving away the giveaway this week to Mario Bailey.
Awesome.
So, Mario, thank you so much for subscribing to This Week in Georgia Beer. And drop us an email to beerguys@beerguysradio.com, and we'll get you a super cool swag pack sent out.
Lots of cool stuff in my swag pack, by
Is
the way.
there?
Yes, I've got
Awesome.
I've got a office full of glasses and hats and T-shirts and
Shirts.
koozies and stuff like that. So,
any Schnitzengruben?
No, Schnitzengruben, exactly.
Okay,
no,
fair enough.
that's on. You're on your own with that one, my
Okay.
friend. That's it. So if you want to go ahead and help to win that swag pack, you just visit beerguysradio.com. Sign up for This Week in Georgia Beer. You'll get a weekly newsletter with all the happenings in Georgia beer, and you'll also be entered to win our weekly swag pack, which Mario just won. So again, Georgia or beerguysradio.com. Sign up for This Week in Georgia Beer. Coming up next week, we will be talking to Georgia's own Chattahoochee Southern Brew House. We had to reschedule them, of course, with the hurricanes and stuff. The owner of Chattahoochee is a first responder. He was down in Tampa. He's back, and we're going to go ahead and talk some beer.
Good deal.
Absolutely.
Out down there taking care of folks. Can't argue with that.
I know, exactly. So good luck with that. So we'll be hitting up Chattahoochee next week, so enjoy. BeerGuysRadio.com and on the socials. And don't forget to drink local. I think I need some more beer. Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We're on demand via iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. Always online at beerguysradio.com. Aaron and Tim are back next week with more about the amazing world of craft beer. Cheers. The Beer Guys Radio Show on the Beer Guys Radio Network. beerguysradio.com.